That's all right. Okay, let's try it again. Say the word, get your mirrors ready. Say the words nap. Nap. I did it again. Name your letters. N-A-P. Name and write.
N-A-P.
Code vowel in the closed syllable short. Code with the breathe. Read the word.
Nap.
Okay, that was great. So now y'all know the directions, and she's not gonna give you any directions at all. She's just gonna give you hand signals, so that the last thing you hear is the word. So let's do nap again.
Nap.
Nap.
Wait a minute, let me do it first. Nap.
Nap.
Nap. N-A-P. N-A-P. Close syllable short. Nap.
Okay.
Is it following that blue
Can
string?
we do that again?
Yes. Let's try another one. Let's do a short one.
I feel like I need to record.
Say the word is, get your mirrors ready. Hat.
Hat.
I'm Lynn.
Hat.
H-A-T. H-A-T. Syllable with a breathe. Hat.
You need more practice?
How did you start in Schedule 1 when we started? We were giving them the directions, right?
Yes.
Okay. Echo and unblend, and then we say name the letters. But that was to teach them the steps. Okay, we're now in 2A, so we want to start dropping off those steps so that they can do that whole thing on their own. And you just, like, when I go like this, they know I'm good, you know? You just give them a little signal if they're not sure what to do next.
Okay.
Okay.
Do y'all want one more practice?
No.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
That's fine, that's fine.
You know what, if they've got one on there, like in the third column, about halfway down, you've got a 5 or 6 letter word.
Okay.
Try a little bit longer.
Split.
Split. O-It. S-P-L-I-T. S-P-L-I-T.
Now suppose I had S-L-P-I-T.
S-L-T.
I didn't spell split, I spelled
Oh.
split.
Okay, so this is when your verbalization, when they go through and code and they're checking their work and they say split and you go, read that word to me. How do you know it's right? Well, you didn't spell split, you spelled whatever you
Well,
said.
exactly, sometimes it becomes so automatic, robotic, that they'll just say split and not realize that they didn't spell it.
That's a
right.
good point.
And what happens if you're using a different media? If you're just writing it on the tabletop, they're not gonna see.
Well, for
Their
that, I would
words.
actually do pencil paper so that they can check their work. I wouldn't use the media.
Would you use shading
No,
cream?
no.
So your
Okay.
media is in
Yeah.
your instant spelling.
Instant spelling,
Oh,
because that way
That's-
you
okay.
can check their work over, or they can check their work over.
This is always gonna be paper and board, something like that, where you can see.
And this is just for Schedule 2, right? So,
No.
no, we have to do it right now, all of
Let's just figure it out. Okay. Are we good with that? Are we ready to move on? Okay. 2A spelling, situation spelling, okay. Presents a sequential organization of the reliable symbols that represent sounds of the spoken English, sound to symbol relationship. The most significant situations which affect the translation of the sound into a symbol are. And so that next slide is coming up. Okay, so first one is situation in the word. If it's an initial or medial position of a base word. So you know a base word is a complete English word. right? This does not include the suffix. So initial and medial position of the base word, or if it's in final position of the base word, that's that situational spelling that we've talked about. Initial and medial position in a base word plus a suffix, because it can be impacted that way. Final position in a base word and a suffix. The length of the word. Oops, sorry. But y'all have those slides.
But you have some missing words.
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry, I'll
there.
go back.
You're in there.
Not that one?
On two they do.
Okay. Situation in the syllable. Initial or medial position in the base word in a closed syllable. Alone or in final position in an open accented syllable. Alone or final position in an open unaccented syllable. Final stable syllables. Now, have you learned
No.
final stable syllables? No, I didn't think so. They're just
Next week.
presenting all the information to you right now. So it's coming. So if you don't recognize some of the terms yet, you will. Is there anything to fill in?
No. Just the first one. They already got it.
Situation in sequence with adjacent letters. What does that mean, adjacent?
Next
Next
to
to each other. Okay. I know you know digraphs. Have you learned trigraphs?
Yeah.
Quadragraphs?
No.
Okay. Diphthongs?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
I know it. No, we
They
haven't
heard
learned
the
it.
word,
They've heard it, but they haven't been formally introduced in instruction. Combinations? Oh, that's true. Affixes. So you're going to learn suffixes first, and then of course later on come your prefixes. So what suffixes have you covered?
ING and S.
So you've had four.
And
So S, ING, LESSN, NES. And dominant sounds.
And that'll come a lot later too. that W.
And if you're wondering about where 1, 2, and 3 came from, it's right in your I didn't bring my situation spelling, but it's the
They just
green
got it.
one. Situation spelling, page I. I don't know. Are you looking for Jana?
No, right here. She just went up to relieve you. She said you're swapping out. She's doing the lecture, you're filling in.
Okay. So we talk about unequivocal and equivocal. Okay, unequivocal means one sound, one symbol. We've talked about that, right? Uncertain, there's more than one spelling for that sound. As you progress through the schedules, you'll see K, you'll eventually get through K, comma, C, final digraph CK, comma, KE, comma, C. You're gonna get to, I think, here soon. But you have to know if it's in initial, if the sound is in initial and medial position, it's going to be, and what letters are after it. If it's in final position, what syllable it's in, and if it's accented, what letters are before it. Okay, so whatever situation it occurs in. Do you have your spelling guides for MTA?
They do.
They do.
I have one if you want to use.
I have one. I just didn't know if they had one as well. Okay, so 2 separate introductions are required. In fact, that's almost verbatim in the slides. It says 2 separate introductions are required for phonemes that may be spelled with one or more grapheme. So what would be the first introduction to students? Linkages, right? Your linkages would be your first introduction, okay? And then second introduction would be the sound. So you have, we can also do a visual discovery with that too. The concept of how to make a logical choice must be taught, usually accomplished through a visual discovery. Situation spellings are reviewed in the instant spelling deck and with concept review cards. So that's when we hold up, when we did those decks earlier, K, comma, C, final digraph, CK, comma, K. And then, of course, later, you're gonna pull up your, I used to call it the CRC, the concept review card, and review when an initial medial position is spelled with a K, and when an initial medial position is spelled with a C. Okay, again, on MTA spelling guide, prior to situation spelling practice, and we know this, that spelling deck responses have to be automatic. If they're not automatic, they're not ready to do this. They're not ready to do phonetic spelling if the situation spelling, if the ISD is not automatic. Students should have practice reading words with application of the concepts. Reading is typically before the spelling. And students should have demonstrated a mastery of previous spellings for the phonemes at 90%. Okay? Automaticity with ISD, practice reading words, and then the phonetic spelling at 90%. Okay, so visual recognition, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Entire activity is teacher directed, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. And as a new teacher doing this, I just wanted to hand them sheet, go fill it in. That's not how you do it. Auditory recognition practice, spelling word list homogeneous, and review word list heterogeneous. So this is the hierarchy for it. I would think of it as more as from simple to more complex. Everybody got that? Okay, so mnemonics. Have y'all reviewed ASAP before? Okay, good. Okay, so A stands for accent, S stands for number of syllables, right? A is a adjacent vowels, and P is position, initial, medial, or final position in the word. And that would really be helpful to have up in your room somewhere as a chart, if you can put ASAP up. Which one? Which adjacent vowels, and P is position, initial, medial, or final.
It should be adjacent letters, I don't know why they put vowel.
And I don't want to doubt this.
I know.
So what I'm seeing in my
But it's adjacent
should be
letters.
letters. Yeah, adjacent letters, because I wondered about that.
They're not always
too.
vowels.
Yeah,
Right,
every wall,
thank you.
have a wall of windows.
Alright. Okay, so when you do visual recognition, expect precise 5-step SOS procedures, okay? K, C, spelled K, comma, C, okay? So, I'm gonna look at situation on page 37. Okay, so if you turn to your teacher book for 2A, top of the page is for comma K for some word lists. And this is if you have to derive your, create your own, and I'll show you how to do this.
Anika? I think right now she's looking at 37.
37. And there's word lists at the top for spell with a K, spell with a C, and initial and medial position. And if you look, it says the earliest possible time these words can be given for spelling is after learning B. Okay? And then if you look below that, after TH, you can do that particular cloth after short E, and then after U. So it kind of helps guide you as to what words, because this is controlled, right? This is controlled. Okay. Always, you're gonna, when we spell, you're gonna reinforce with the student saying, how do you know? How do you know it's spelled this way? So before we start that, let's review. What is initial? Initial and medial is spelled with a K before I-E. Okay. Initial and medial is spelled with a C before A-O-U or any consonant. And, well, it doesn't say final on this one because we're just doing initial and medial right now. So let's take a look. Let me get my verbiage out. Okay, so say, and we're of course going to start with your SOS. Look, listen, echo, and read the letters. Okay, so say I had I-N. So I'm spelling with the K sound. Okay, so I'm going to say the word is kin. Kin. In your mirror, right? Let's try it again. Kin. Kin. And we're not doing the whole SOS. This is visual recognition. So K is spelled how before I? K. Okay, so K is spelled K before I. So we're going to spell K-I-N. We're going to name the letter K. And then we're going to name the other two letters K-I-N. We're going to code. Now I'm close syllable short. Code breathe. Read the word kin. So then we restate the rule. K is spelled with a K before E and I. Okay. And try another one. Let's do a medial. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I'm okay. Okay. So this word
It
is,
doesn't say in this line though.
we okay? I'm just pulling words out right now. Okay. This word is scuff. Scuff. Okay. So how are we going to spell? C, because is spelled with a C before A, O, U, or any consonant. Let's spell it aloud. S, C, U, F, F. We're going to name C, S, C, U, F, F. Code. Now on the closed syllable short. Code the breathe. Let's cross out my consonants. Thank you.
And put
And that
Okay, but
C. Lots of coding in that one. Lots of coding in that one. So then we verbalize the rule. Is spelled with a C when there's an A, O, U, or any consonant. Yes.
Okay, when you start to code, you're saying something that ends with code and a breathe. Can you say that slower so I could hear it?
Vowel in a closed syllable is short.
Okay.
Code with a breathe. Y'all understand that? And so obviously later you're going to move on to final when you learn digraph CK, and then you can even do initial, medial, and final K, comma C, final digraph CK, and then you can do final K is spelled with a K later on.
how
Yes.
much later does it come at the end in the final position?
Well, again, you're kind of gauging. You're going to introduce it in linkages way before you start working with it in spelling. You're kind of gauging on your group.
But in the graph, is it way down the
With
low?
spelling or introduction?
The concept of
I don't
introduction
know.
of all your C spellings, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
By two C, you've got them all. It may
Oh,
even
you
be
mean the
two.
whole gamut or just to K?
Yeah, I think she means.
Yeah, like the whole.
It's a
Okay.
lot.
But it's not like some of them are in Schedule 3. Right?
Do you find that when you're in Schedule 2, that it's taking a lot longer per student because there's so many concept cards that you're having to, or concepts you're trying to remember?
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
part
So
of
that's
it.
why you want to do little tiny chunks.
Okay. So would you be stuck on a linkage for 3 days?
Not a linkage. You might be stuck,
No, not a linkage.
You're not stuck on a linkage for more than a
But your
session?
reading practice,
You
your
may be
spelling
there a
practice
while.
may be a while.
Okay.
yeah, no, your linkages are that day. Okay, but you're gonna keep
Then you
resurfacing
learn
in spelling, and once they master that homogeneous, reading, and once they master that homogeneous list in reading,
Carla?
then you can move on, okay? All right, so situation spelling, okay, situation spelling, auditory recognition. So what we did before was a visual recognition practice. Now we're moving on to the auditory recognition practice. It's a little bit different. Sorry about that. Let's see. So we're going to talk about the auditory recognition practice. So I'm going to say a word. You're going to echo, but we're only going to spell the sound and explain our choice. So we don't have any of this. It's all auditory. Okay? So say the word is, get ready with your mirrors. Say the word is clip.
Clip.
Clip. Okay. So, so where'd you hear the k sound? Initial. Initial or medial k is spelled with a C before A, O, U, or any consonant. Was there anything visual?
No.
No. And what did we only spell? The k sound, right.
Sound.
Okay. Let's try another one. Get your fake mirrors ready. King. King. Where did you hear the k sound? Initial. How is initial k spelled? K, because initial medial k is spelled with a K before E or I, right? Okay. So if you look at your, again, you can use Situations Learning Teacher Guide, page 37 for word list for K. Same page for word list for K, spell with a C. And then on 38, you can, even though it's a visual practice, you can use those for auditory. Right? Okay. Okay. Always reinforce with the student saying, how do you know? And they should be able to give you the verbiage because k is spelled with a K or k is spelled with a C in initial and medial position with whatever rule follows that. There we go. Okay. So situation practice, word list practice. Again, using your SOS procedures. Word list is homogeneous. Okay, meaning what? The same. All the same. It's spelled with a K. You want 90% mastery, and then you would lead into the next practice with spelled with a C. Okay, you're not going to add C in today because you're doing a homogeneous practice. Okay. And again, you can use your teacher book, page 37 for words, for dictation, for written spelling practice. So you still use your SOS, look and listen, echo, unblend, name the letters, name and write, code and read. Do you want to try one for practice, or do you think you're...
Let's try it.
You want to try one for practice? Good. So let's see, the word is, remember you're going to write down on the table and you're going to have your fake mirror. Fact.
Fast.
Fast.
Name and write.
F-A-C-T. Close
starts with a C, what do you do? K-back, K-line. Did we decide K-back or K-line?
I tell them both of them. They can just-
We want to try another one? Yes? Okay. The word is, here's a good one. Kiss.
Kiss. Kiss. K-I-S-S. K-I-S-S. Close the syllable, short vowel.
It would have breathed. Okay.
It's a K, it doesn't get a K back, it already has one. So how many sounds did you hear in kiss?
3.
How many letters did you spell with?
4.
Why is that? I'm bringing the floss roll and I really shouldn't, but I just wanted to. So an initial position, we spell k with a K because k is spelled with a K when there's an E or an I after it.
But why are there two S's?
No, I just threw in the two, because of floss roll.
Because the focus, the emphasis of this one is
Right.
on
The emphasis is the k sound, but then I threw in the floss roll because I was thinking about floss roll.
And what you may have to do, it depends on your kiddos, you know, everything depends on your kiddos. You may have to do homogeneous initial position, and then a whole separate homogeneous medial position
That's a good thought.
before you can mix the two of them. Just depends on the kiddo.
And the other thing is, do we not mark off, or cross out the double F before we go, I mean, don't we go from this way? Or do we go straight to the vowel and say what we say about, and then?
I started with the vowel, but
I always go to the back and do my open
You go
and
to the back.
closed,
First.
and then I do all those other.
okay.
Okay, always the vowel first.
Okay. She started at the back is what she said. She started at the back and indicated what her syllable type was. Review word list practice, situation spelling. Again, precise, SOS. You're gonna have these charts up in your room and you're gonna be able to refer to them. It's going to be second nature. When you're up here, it's not necessarily second nature, but it's going to be second nature when you're in front of your kids. Because they love you unconditionally, right? Okay, so we're going to review. I'm just saying. We're going to review the heterogeneous. So what does that mean? Same or different? Heterogeneous word practice list practice after student demonstrates 90% of mastery. And do you think you just rest on one day for 90% mastery?
No.
Do you think maybe you have to look over a series of days to see if they've mastered that? They may get it one day and the next day it's like Groundhog's Day. They have no idea what's going on. So you want to do that over a series of days. Don't just rest on one day. Okay. After student demonstrates 90% mastery spelling k with a K and k with C, plan review word list practices for K, C. Okay. So let's see how we could do that. So we can do this like we've been doing the other list. So if we do a heterogeneous list, say the word is, and we're going to write down on a piece of paper, skin.
Skin. S-A-I-N. S-A-I-N. Close the syllable, short vowel,
Cody would have breathed.
Read the word.
skin.
Okay, good. Now, could I throw, if this is a homogeneous list, could I maybe throw in the word ring today? I mean, heterogeneous list, could I throw in the word ring today? Yeah, because is it something you've already studied? Does it have concepts you've already studied? Sure. So that would kind of be a review list, right? So let's try ring. Ring.
Ring. R-I-N-G. R-I-N-G.
Okay, start from the back.
Underline, I-N-G. Close syllable, short vowel, word with a breathe. Ring.
Good. And then, as the instructor, kind of look over their shoulder and make sure they wrote the word correctly. Again, we said we all go on autopilot after a while. Because a lot of times they'll spell ring R-E-N-G. Okay. Word spelling formula practice. Prior to the word spelling formula practice, students should be able to spell base words without unblending the sounds. SOS procedures for spelling phonetic base words should be fully automatic. Students should have practice reading words containing an application of the formula. So kind of the same hierarchy we saw before, right? You have to establish a system before they get to this point. Oh boy, okay. Hierarchy for word spelling formula practice. So visual recognition practice, okay? Entire activity is teacher directed. So I was hyper focusing on the sound, but for visual recognition, you could do floss rule, right? So let's try a couple of those. I can find an eraser.
You can use the Elmo if you want.
It's one more piece of technology I don't have to deal with right now.
And we just click on, like, Diana, can you help her, like, so that she can use the procedure? Okay.
We're good.
I'm all right, no worries, no worries. Okay, so. And you'll have sheets that contain this. Or you can create your own. Okay. So this is that visual recognition again. This is dealing with the floss rule. First one, the word is pass. Echo?
Pass.
Okay, so remember we're only spelling the final. So how are we going to spell final? S. So we're going to name the letters. P-A-S-S. Name it right. P-A-S-S. Okay, so touch and name. P-A-S-S code. Why am I crossing that out? Two like consonants, close syllable. Okay, so Y is S doubled. Can you tell me what the floss rule is?
Words ending in F, L, S, S are doubled in a
One
one
syllable.
syllable word.
After
After
a
a vowel, short vowel.
very good.
That was good. That was good.
That's really good.
Okay, so you have to be careful with this. This word is pill.
I was like, where is she?
I would never do that. Pill.
Here.
How are we going to spell the ul sound in pill? L-L. What's name? P-I-L-L. P-I-L-L. Okay, touch. P-I-L-L. Code.
Cross it
Cross
out.
out the short.
Give me the rule.
Floss.
In a one syllable. In a one syllable base word immediately after a short vowel sound, final ooh is spelled L-L.
Do we have a concept art?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Do we write this in cursive? Or does
We
it-
should, I should have written it in cursive,
Okay.
you're right. Thank
They're
you for
gonna
reminding
see
me.
it, cause she's taking it from a worksheet. In the worksheet, they're gonna see print,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But
But
when
I
I
should be
make them
supplying
write
it
it,
in cursive.
I have them write it in cursive.
Thank you for pointing that out. Let's try one more. Sill. Sill. Okay. How is final ooh going to be spelled? Final ooh is spelled L-L. Name S-I-L-L. Touch a name S-I-L-L. Okay, let's code and read.
Large vowel, the second S, short vowel, and closed syllable.
Okay, so tell me the rule, don't say floss.
In a closed syllable followed by a short vowel,
After a short vowel.
Will you say it?
Final L is spelled L-L.
Make sure you give the sound before you name the spelling, so final full is spelled L-L. And that, those concept review cards, when I was first starting, they helped a lot because it also creates that visual for the instructor as well. Okay? Remember, when you're doing concept review cards at the end, you're reading exactly what it says on the back. Okay? Auditory recognition practice. So again, remember how we did the visual last time with the, now we're doing the auditory. So let's try it with the floss rule again. Trying to think of one that we haven't done. Staff. Staff. Okay, so how are we going to do that for auditory? Are we gonna spell the whole word? So what do we do? And final is spelled F-F in a one-syllable base word after a short vowel sound. You wanna try another one?
Yes.
Every time I use this word, kids are like, that's a bad word. Kill.
Kill.
Okay? So what are we listening for? So, final is spelled L-L in a one-syllable base word after a short vowel sound. Okay? So, say we're going to our word spelling formula practice. Okay? And I forgot to do the visual for the word spelling formula practice. So, say your book, and I know you've learned the rule today. Okay. So we're gonna look and listen, echo and blend, base word and suffix, name and write, code and read. The word is standing. Standing. What's your base word? Stand. What is your suffix?
I-N-G.
How would you? The same vowel suffix ing?
Vowel suffix ing.
So,
Base word stands plus vowel suffix.
we don't have to say plus, vowel suffix ing. Okay, how would you spell that derivative? Well, what is the rule? Obviously, it's the standing rule, so it ends in two consonants, you're adding a vowel suffix. How would you spell standing?
STANDING.
How would you code that?
Closed syllable, short vowel, coded with a B.
Accent where?
On D.
After the D, because our suffix is accented?
No.
Suffixes are not accented, so that would be a visual, sorry, I had skipped that piece. Auditory would be kind of the same way. Standing. Standing, what's your base word?
Stand.
Okay, so how are we going to spell our derivative?
STAND.
So, if we do written spelling, which is standing is kind of a long one to do auditorily, I think, especially for your new kids. If we go into homogeneous practice for written, so if I'm doing derivatives, I'm just going to do suffixes with ing, okay? Or I could do suffixes with any, words with any ss. If I'm doing heterogeneous, I could do both. I could do any of the suffixes I've learned, right? Suffix s, ing, less, ness. Again, though, you can't move from one to the other until you get to 90%. And you're not looking at one day, you're looking over a series of days. So you want to try one? Written spelling? Let's see, page 32.
Page 32.
So if you look at your teacher book, page 32, but it says student book page 49. So we know that reading and spelling are different. We're just getting words to supply our students with when we are needing some help with spelling or needing some spelling words. Okay? So on this one, we could do a homogeneous list with base word and then adding suffix ing as part of the word spelling formula practice, right? Okay? So look and listen, echo, blend is base word and suffix. Okay? Name the letters, name and write, code and read. Y'all ready? First one is camping. Echo?
Camping.
No, we're just doing base word.
Oh, okay.
Base word.
Camp, suffix, ing.
Name your letters.
CAMPING.
Name and write. Name and write. CAMPING. Code and read. Code. Vowel and closed syllable short. Code and read. Okay, that accent before your suffix. Because suffixes, prefixes and suffixes are not accented. So if we did a whole list of base word and suffix ing, that's your homogeneous list. If you're going to pull in other suffixes, that would be your heterogeneous, but only ones you've learned, right? So say I'm going to do a heterogeneous list. So we've done camping, bigness.
Bigness.
Base word, big. Suffix.
Suffix NESS.
Name your letters.
BIGNASS.
Name and write.
BIGNESS.
Code and read.
Box suffix.
With the brief, accent the G.
Accent before the suffix. I wouldn't say accent a letter. I would say accent before the suffix. Okay? Because you want to reinforce that you're accenting the base word, not the suffix.
Should we say consonant suffix or vowel?
I have. I'd say that because
I
sometimes
think
they,
that's what Joanne
yeah,
wants to do, so, okay.
we'll do consonant and vowel suffix, yeah. Do y'all need another practice? Okay, so look at spelling. I know it says verbal expression is the last thing entered in, but look at spelling practice. It is highlighted. How long is spelling? 10 minutes. And look, base words, obviously without the suffix, homogeneous list. Derivative, base word plus the suffix, homogeneous list. Base words, heterogeneous list, so everything you've learned past. Derivatives, homogeneous list, and then instant words and learned words.
Or during instant words and learned words, what else could you do? In Friday where it says instant words, learned words, where we might do your spelling notebook.
So are you going to labor over the fact that your kids are not getting maybe base word heterogeneous that day?
No.
Are you gonna come back to it?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you go back, Amy, because, thank you.
Le voy a pedir a Amy una copia del video.
Did y'all have any questions? I know it was a lot to cover. Y'all had covered the word spelling formulas right before that. But did y'all have any other questions about what we went over? Yes.
Whenever you do the suffix ing on immediately before we put like a V or a C, there's a picture of that.
I think that's when you're doing the word spelling formulas because you're doing your checkpoints. You don't have to do that for this. Because right now we're doing just that. But when you're starting to change or double or drop, you probably want to.
I have a question about the heterogeneous words versus the homogeneous. So when you do the heterogeneous, would it be better to do different words, but with the same, with the position of the word in a different meaning, rather than just.
Well, but you want to change up the objective, so it's going to be what you learned
So
maybe
much
that
family
day,
in town.
always.
There's
Lo que te
Is there anything else?
people at my house right now. And I'm saying, yeah, this is for my mom. I'm texting my phone.